My friend Colin Plume from Noble Gold Investments just released his new book, Silver is the New Oil. And it says if you don't own silver yet, you're already behind. Colin says that as demand for technology, energy, and industry soars, silver's value is set to surge. The question is, are you ready to profit? This book reveals why silver is the most underrated asset today and how to invest before the world catches on. I've read Silver is the New Oil, and you should too. Get it now, available on Amazon. I believe that the future of the MAGA agenda, Trump's promises, and Western civilization are going to go through three major cities. I think President Trump, if you want to talk about, if we want to get, some people say, oh, you know, the vibes are off, we got to get the gusto back. If you want to get the gusto back, he needs to have a all-out plan to declare an agenda on LA, Chicago, and New York. Those are the three cities. It's not going to happen without a full-out focus with precision on all three. It is LA, Chicago, and New York. It's going to happen on the streets of these cities, and LA in particular, which I know you are very passionate about. By the way, Stephen Miller's been talking about this forever. You've been talking about this forever, yeah. Alex, which is that, you know, we can win the heartland, but if you do not go after the central power structure, if you do not get back at the baseline, which is what's happening on the streets of the city of Los Angeles, then we're just tampering at the edges here. How old are you, Alex? You're late 30s?
39, yeah.
39. So I'm 31. Mamdani is 33. Help our audience understand the appeal of Mamdani outside of the Muslim thing, outside of the fact he's a communist. I totally get it because I can view this from a digital millennial prism. Yeah. I get the audience. Help explain that to some of our audience that is just so perplexed that this guy is now the Democrat candidate and likely next mayor of America's largest city.
Well, it's clearly because he eats with his hands. I mean, I think that's the main. He's seen the fork and he's just fighting through it. He's like, I'm going to eat with my hands because I'm going to pander for the online clout. No, Charlie, in all seriousness, what he's doing is he's catering towards the millennial energy. He's smiley. He looks sharp. He's got a good haircut. And he says things that come off as forward thinking, even though we know it's very regressive, the idea of seizing the means of production. That's all straight out of Marx. But he's positioned himself as someone who is looking down the field and is showing actual leadership. And that is what the appeal is all about. He's packaging all of his messages for a digital age. When he was doing that absurd thing where he wants to have government run, grocery stores, which by the way, he misread a budget item in this city budget, which is how he came up with that. He thought there was all this money allocated for corporate grocery stores, which he had misread. So he can't even do this, even if he wanted to. But if you saw the video, he shows up, he's got the little handheld mic that you always see on TikTok, and he's talking into it, and he's catering to a message to people who are maybe new to politics and maybe have not learned from their broken school system how bad socialism is. And so when you go up against a guy like Andrew Cuomo, who is the worst politician in America, I prefer Mamdani to Cuomo. I do. After Cuomo killed all those people, essentially, for the lawyers, he essentially killed all those people in the nursing homes. He crammed all these sick people in with these innocent elderly people so that they could die during COVID. That policy is unacceptable. He's been accused of all being a sex pest, all that stuff. He's terrible to run that city. So once you add all that up together, and you can see how he could get through a primary.
We're going to do a whole nother show on this. We're going to have Benny Johnson come on the show because he actually went to Cuba with Turning Point USA like 5 years ago, and he actually showed what a grocery store looks like if the government runs it, and it's no joke. The politics of grocery stores are legit. You might remember back in the late 80s, I think it was Gorbachev that came to America, and he saw the American grocery stores for himself, and he was blown away. He could not believe it. He was like, you guys have so much abundance. He was speechless. The politics of grocery stores is not to be made fun of. Alex, last question. How do we beat Mamdani? We should not give up on New York. We should not say, oh, let it burn. That is BS. That's nonsense. That's like the Roman Empire giving up on Rome. That's like the Greeks giving up on Athens. That's like the British Empire giving up on London. That is cope. How do we beat this communist?
Well, if you want to beat him, then the first thing is Curtis Lewa's got to drop out. Cuomo cannot run, and everyone's got to consolidate behind Adams. And Adams has got to, I think, work with Trump, come up with some sort of way to work with Trump when it comes to ICE stuff, and try to position himself as a moderate, more of like a Fetterman-esque type Democrat, even better than Fetterman, because Fetterman always ends up voting wrong every time. So, but that would be the path forward. I do think Adams could win in that case, and I think that as more people point out that this guy's policies are not going to work. And also, he's not authentic, is that he comes from Ivy League educated parents who benefited from this country's largesse. And then for him to act like we want to throw out everything that made America special and to go with Marxism and socialism that has never worked anywhere, especially not in this country. I think the more people who actually are confronted with that reality, I don't think he'll necessarily be able to make it all the way to a general.
Breaking news. Stay there. No, we got to go. But breaking news, President Trump has said that we're just going to arrest Mamdani if he blocks ICE. That is exactly the right answer, Mr. President. Sure. We're not going to let some uppity 33-year-old socialist get in the way of the mass deportation agenda. Zohran Mamdani, okay? Take a seat. We are in the driver's seat here. The American people are. We're not going to allow a foreign third world agenda take over America's largest city. We have the amazing Student Action Summit coming up literally in a week and a half. Can you believe it? It's going to be an amazing event. We're so excited about the crowds and the energy and the enthusiasm. We have Kristi Noem. We have Tucker Carlson. We have Pete Hegseth. We have the biggest speakers in the movement. Let's play it. Let's play Cut 51.
They said Gen Z would stay silent, that we'd back down, that we'd forget what's worth fighting for. But this generation remembers. We remember truth. We remember freedom. And now, we rise. This is more than a conference. It's a call to action, to reclaim the future, to ignite a movement that cannot be ignored. Student Action Summit 2025, featuring the boldest voices in the fight. Charlie Kirk, Secretary Pete Hegseth, Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon, Brett Cooper, Secretary Kristi Noem, Riley Gaines, Brandon Tatum, Jack Posobiec, Laura Ingraham, Megyn Kelly, Greg Gutfeld, Tom Homan, Congressman Byron Donalds, Russell Brand, Savannah Chrisley. Join thousands of patriots, future leaders, and freedom fighters of all ages. This is the battleground of ideas. This is the Student Action Summit. Register now at sas2025.com.